Felix Alvarez was a nobody. He was the kind of person who could walk through a crowded street and not a single head would turn. He blended into the background, a shadow among the bustling life of the city, or at least that's what everyone thought. To the untrained eye, Felix was just another face in the crowd, another soul lost in the sea of anonymity. He wasn't born into wealth, didn't have a fancy education, and wasn't particularly good-looking. His clothes were plain, his demeanor unassuming. He was the epitome of average, the kind of person who could easily be overlooked. But Felix had something else, something far more valuable, an uncanny ability to see potential where others saw only emptiness. He had a vision that pierced through the mundane, revealing hidden opportunities that others were blind to. He saw opportunity in the cracks of the sidewalk, in the imperfections that most people would step over without a second thought. To Felix, these cracks were not flaws but pathways to something greater. In the discarded lottery tickets blowing in the wind, he saw stories of hope and despair, dreams that had been cast aside. Each ticket was a testament to someone's belief in a better future, a belief that Felix could tap into. In the very air he breathed, he felt the pulse of the city, the collective heartbeat of its inhabitants. Every breath was a reminder of the life teeming around him, a life full of possibilities waiting to be seized. And he had a smile that could charm the birds right out of the trees. It was a smile that disarmed even the most guarded individuals, a smile that promised understanding and camaraderie. Felix wasn't a bad man, not really. He had his own moral compass, one that didn't always align with societal norms, but he believed in his own version of right and wrong. He saw himself more as an artist, a sculptor of dreams. He believed that life was a canvas, and he was the one holding the brush, ready to paint his masterpiece. He believed that everyone had a weakness, a blind spot, and his talent lay in finding it, exploiting it, and walking away with the prize. It was a game to him, a puzzle that he relished solving. And in the bustling metropolis where he lived, a city teeming with ambition and desperation, Felix was about to find his masterpiece. The city was a living, breathing entity, full of stories waiting to be told, and Felix was ready to write his own. Felix knew that every good story needed a hook, a catalyst to set things in motion. He was always on the lookout for that one moment, that one opportunity that would change everything. And fate, it seemed, was about to deliver him one on a silver platter. It was a chance encounter, a fleeting moment that would set the stage for his grand plan. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a journey that would test his skills and his resolve like never before. It all started with a simple handshake, a meeting with a stranger who seemed as unremarkable as Felix himself, but Felix knew better. He sensed the potential, the hidden depths that lay beneath the surface. Their conversation was brief but impactful. The stranger spoke of dreams and ambitions, of plans that had yet to be realized. Felix listened intently, his mind already working on how he could turn this chance meeting to his advantage. As he walked away, Felix felt a surge of excitement. This was it, the moment he had been waiting for. The city was his playground, and he was ready to play the game to its fullest. The city buzzed with life, each person caught up in their own world, their own struggles and triumphs. But Felix saw the bigger picture, the interconnected web of lives and stories that made up the fabric of the metropolis. He spent hours planning, mapping out his strategy with meticulous detail. Every move was calculated, every decision weighed carefully. He knew that success required not just talent, but also preparation and foresight. And so, Felix set his plan into motion. He moved with purpose, each step bringing him closer to his goal. He was a man on a mission, driven by a vision that only he could see. And when the moment of triumph finally came, it was everything he had imagined and more. Felix had turned the ordinary into the extraordinary, proving that even a nobody could become somebody with the right mindset and $1 million smile. The rumor mill, that insatiable beast of speculation and gossip, began churning in the city's financial district. It was a place where whispers could turn into roars, where the faintest hint of a new venture could set off a chain reaction of excitement and anticipation. The air was thick with the scent of opportunity, and everyone was eager to catch a whiff. Whispers of a new airport, a grand project spearheaded by the city itself, began to circulate amongst the suited sharks and hungry investors. The idea of a new airport was tantalizing, a beacon of potential profits and economic growth. It was the kind of project that could reshape the city's landscape, both literally and figuratively. The details were scant, almost non-existent, but the mere suggestion was enough to send a ripple of excitement through the concrete jungle. Investors began to speculate, drawing up mental maps of where this new airport could be, how it would impact property values, and which businesses would benefit the most. The city buzzed with a newfound energy, a collective anticipation of what could be. Felix, ever the astute observer, caught wind of these whispers. He was a man who thrived on information, who could see patterns where others saw only chaos. Felix knew that in the world of finance, knowledge was power, and he was always on the lookout for the next big thing. He saw the glint in the eyes of the city's elite, the barely concealed hunger for a piece of the pie. These were people who lived for the thrill of the deal, who were always ready to pounce on the next opportunity. Felix knew that if he could harness this energy, he could turn it to his advantage. An airport, he mused. Now that was an opportunity of epic proportions. It was the kind of project that could make or break fortunes, that could elevate a savvy investor to new heights of success. Felix's mind raced with possibilities, each one more audacious than the last. And in that moment, a plan, audacious and utterly preposterous, began to take shape in his mind. It was a plan that would require cunning, charisma, and a fair bit of luck. But Felix was no stranger to risk. He knew that in the world of high finance, fortune favored the bold. He knew he couldn't build an actual airport, of course. That was simply impossible. The logistics, the funding, the sheer scale of the project were beyond his reach. But Felix was a man who thought outside the box, who saw opportunities where others saw obstacles. But what if he didn't need to? What if the mere idea of an airport was enough to set his plan in motion? Felix realized that in the world of finance, perception was often more powerful than reality. If he could convince people that the airport was a sure thing, he could ride the wave of speculation to his own advantage. What if all he had to do was convince people that it existed? Felix's mind raced with the possibilities. He could start by planting the seeds of the idea in the right places, whispering in the ears of influential investors, dropping hints at high-profile meetings. He could create a buzz, a sense of inevitability that would make people believe in the project. And once they believed, the real work could begin. Felix knew that he would need allies, people who could help him spread the word and build the illusion. He reached out to his network, calling in favors and making promises. Slowly but surely, the idea began to take root. Investors started to talk, the rumor mill began to churn even faster, and the city's financial district buzzed with anticipation. As the momentum grew, Felix began to take more concrete steps. He hired architects to draw up plans, construction crews to break ground on a symbolic site. It didn't matter that the airport would never be built. What mattered was that people believed it would be. The illusion was becoming reality, and Felix was at the center of it all. In the end, it wasn't about the airport itself, it was about the power of belief, the ability to turn whispers into opportunities. Felix had taken a simple rumor and turned it into a catalyst for change, a way to harness the energy of the city's financial elite for his own gain. And as he watched the city buzz with excitement, he knew that he had succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. Felix, a master of smoke and mirrors, got to work. He was no ordinary entrepreneur. He was a visionary with a knack for creating something out of nothing. With a few keystrokes and a lot of imagination, he began to lay the foundation for what would become Skyhaven Enterprises. He created Skyhaven Enterprises, a company that existed solely on paper and in the digital ether. The incorporation documents were flawless, each detail meticulously planned to ensure that Skyhaven appeared as legitimate as any other established corporation. He crafted a website, sleek and professional, complete with stock photos of smiling pilots and gleaming airplanes. The website was a masterpiece of design, featuring interactive elements and detailed descriptions of services that Skyhaven purportedly offered. It was so convincing that even seasoned professionals in the aviation industry would have been hard-pressed to find any flaws. He even hired a team of actors to pose as architects, engineers, and aviation experts, their LinkedIn profiles meticulously crafted to withstand even the most rigorous scrutiny. These profiles were filled with endorsements and recommendations from other fabricated professionals, creating a web of credibility that was nearly impossible to untangle. He knew that to sell a lie, especially one of this magnitude, it had to be wrapped in a veneer of authenticity. Felix spent countless hours rehearsing his pitch, perfecting every detail to ensure that his story would be as compelling as it was believable. He understood that the key to convincing others was to first convince himself. He needed to create a narrative so compelling, so believable, that even the most skeptical investor would be left reaching for their checkbook. Felix's presentations were a blend of charisma and data, filled with charts, graphs, and projections that painted a picture of inevitable success. He spoke with such confidence and passion that it was easy to forget that Skyhaven was nothing more than an elaborate illusion. Felix was a storyteller, and his greatest creation was about to take flight. He envisioned a future where Skyhaven would not only exist but thrive, becoming a leader in the aviation industry. His dream was so vivid, so detailed, that it began to take on a life of its own. As he stood before potential investors, he could almost see the airplanes taking off, the engineers working tirelessly, and the architects designing the next generation of aviation marvels. Felix's journey was just beginning, and with each step he moved closer to turning his grand illusion into a reality.